Breaking news in the NFL. It's a tough one for the Texans. Wide receiver Stefon Diggs will miss the remainder of the season. He has a torn ACL. The All-Pro wideout was injured during Sunday's win against the Colts. This is another big blow to the Texans wide receiver room. Still without Nico Collins. He is on IR for at least another week. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. Houston will have to play its first game of the season without Diggs on Thursday when they take on the Jets. Here's more from head coach D'Amico Ryans.
Update with Diggs. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL, so he'll be out for the year. Really hurts our team to hear that news, and he's been such an important part to our team and just everything that he brought, not only on the field but off the field, the energy, the leader, like the way he worked every single day. He brought a lot to our team, and we have to pick up the slack. A lot of guys have to step up, pick up the slack, but definitely praying for him to have a speedy, successful recovery. It's definitely a blow to us.
Let's welcome in our insider, Jonathan Jones here. JJ, we'll talk in a second. You got the trade deadline coming up. They could look to that. Potential replacements for this, but what a big blow is it for this Texans team not having Diggs there anymore?
So this was the fear on Sunday, and then, of course, tests confirmed that it is a torn ACL for Stef Diggs, someone that they traded for this offseason, someone who was helping them through while Nico Collins was coming back and is coming back from that hamstring that landed him on injured reserve. It's a tough blow for the Houston Texans. Doesn't change anything for them this week. You know, after it happened, they more or less knew that they weren't going to have him available on Thursday night against the New York Jets. But as far as the rest of this season goes, of course, it is going to be a difficult blow, something that the Texans, obviously AFC South hopefuls, AFC contenders. We're going to talk about the trade deadline. I'm sure Nico Collins is able to come back in Week 10 against the Detroit Lions, but a huge blow for Stef Diggs, who is set to be a free agent at the end of this season. Seemed to be doing everything right. You know, things didn't end well for him in Minnesota, didn't end well for him in Buffalo. Seemed to really, whatever had happened in his previous stops, things were working out really well in Houston. When you talked with folks around that team, hearing his teammates talk on the record about him. So difficult all around for one of the best receivers in the game.
All right, so let's talk about what they do. You do have Nico Collins potentially coming back sooner rather than later, dealing with that hamstring injury. He's been on IR. Trade deadline 1 week from today. Are the Texans now absolutely looking at trading for a receiver?
I would not say absolutely. And if they do trade for a receiver, I don't know that it would be someone like a Deontay Johnson, for example. They do get Nico back. We see their depth chart there. They have names. They have guys. Now, could they trade for someone who would be a little bit farther down that list? I think that is more likely than having someone and trading for someone who would be at the top of that list. Are they willing truly to part with a third-round pick to Carolina for Deontay Johnson? I'm not entirely sure that that's the case, but that's something that Nick Caserio has been grappling with this week. Of course, they had the fear of the ACL, and then, of course, it being confirmed via tests. The good news for them is because they play on Thursday, they're going to have as clear a picture as anyone in the NFL about what the rest of their season looks like after Thursday night, on Friday. A lot of teams with this trade deadline, they just want to see what happens on Sunday or on Monday before they finally determine whether they're buyers or sellers, or how much they will buy or how much they will sell. And so that gives them, you know, that Monday and into Tuesday's 4 p.m. Eastern deadline, the decision to make. The Texans will have the luxury of knowing the landscape of things and sitting back and watching it after Thursday night. So that is a plus for them. No one likes a short week, but a short week right before the trade deadline could absolutely help them. I don't, again, think or anticipate that they're going after one of the top wide receivers out there on the market, but you could see them go after someone eventually.
We talked earlier today that the Texans, one of those teams looking at the 2 seed, potentially in the AFC, assuming the Chiefs stay on the path that they're on right now. I mean, their schedule's a little bit up and down for the rest of the season, but they still have the Lions, Texans, the Chiefs, the Ravens on the schedule right now. How much does not having Stefon Diggs play into the rest of their season and their hopes at potentially that 2 seed in a postseason run?
Yeah, I mean, look, you have the Jets, but you know it's the Lions, the Cowboys who are struggling right now, but it's at Dallas. You get a gift of the AFC South with Tennessee and Jacksonville before your bye. Look, Joe Mixon is playing incredibly well right now for them. So maybe this is a group that they're not going to air it out as much. They're going to rely a little bit more on Joe Mixon, someone that very clearly the Cincinnati Bengals have been missing this season. You have to be able to change and adapt with your personnel. And so this is a big test for Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. Again, Nico Collins is due to be back in short order, so that's huge for them. And Stefon Diggs was able to really kind of help guide them through some of that absence since he's been out in Week 5 on that touchdown catch where he pulled his hamstring. So again, back in Week 10, this is not something necessarily, this team is so sound that I am not sounding the alarm on this. Stefon Diggs is a fantastic wide receiver. There's no question about it, but they do have depth. They do have talent across the board. They do have a solid defense, a fantastic head coach, the reigning offensive player of the year in C.J. Stroud. I do think that they're going to be able to navigate this in the post-Diggs.